never been so happy, never felt so high. And I think I might have found me my own kind of paradise.
Wrote a note, said be back in a minute. Bought a boat and I sailed off in it. Don't think anybody's gonna miss me anyway. Mind on a permanent vacation. The ocean is my only medication. Wishing my condition ain't ever gonna go away.
'Cause now I'm knee deep in the water somewhere. Got the blue sky breeze blowing wind through my hair. Only worry in the world is the tide gonna reach my chair. Sunrise, there's a fire in the sky. Never been so happy, never felt so high. And I think I might have found me my own kind of paradise. This champagne shore washing over me.
It's a sweet, sweet life, living by the salty sea.
One day you can be as lost as me.
Change your geography, maybe you might be.
Knee deep in the water somewhere. Got the blue sky breeze blowing wind through my hair. Only worry in the world is the tide gonna reach my chair. Sunrise, there's a fire in the sky. Never been so happy, never felt so high. And I think I might have found me my own kind of paradise. Come on in, the water's nice. Find yourself a little slice. Grab a backpack and lunch. You never know until you try. When you lose yourself,
You find the key to paradise.
Way on down to southern Alabama with the guitars jamming, that's where we're headed. Straight up to Butte in Montana singing, Lord, I was born a rambling man. California to Oregon, even New York City got one or two hillbillies ready to hit the road. It's a brother and a sister kind of thing. Raise up your hands if you all wanna hang with me and my gang. We live to ride, we ride to live. Me and my gang, jump on that train, grab hold of them reins. We gonna rock this thing, cock this thing. Me and my gang, yeah, yeah, me and my gang. We got hippies, gypsies, freaks, and geeks, high class women and Daisy Duke denim, banging on gongs and singing our songs. Dude named Bill Rod jamming on an iPod. Beer and bonfires, and wide open throttle, course in a bottle. It's all for one and one for all, y'all. It's a brother and a sister kind of thing. Raise up your hands if you all wanna hang with me and my gang. We live to ride, we ride to live. Me and my gang, jump on that train,
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the first night of the Williston Area Chamber of Commerce's 2026 Primary Election Candidate Forums. My name is Mitch Melberg. I am the President and CEO of the Williston Area Chamber of Commerce. Tonight's event is an extension of our Policies and Pastries series and is for informational and educational purposes. This is not a debate. It is not a campaign event. The primary election, again, is June 9th. And it's just about a month away, so this is just a time to once again get to know our candidates. So before we get to that, we want to thank our sponsors, Western Regional Economic Development for providing refreshments, Montreal Williams Electric Cooperative for providing our water tonight, and Town Square Media and 660 Keys for providing our live broadcast. And we also appreciate Williston State College for allowing us to use their space in their new healthcare training facility. All right, so we are going to begin this with our state legislative candidates for Districts 1 and 23. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to hear from the candidates for the County Commission and the Sheriff. Now, input and questions for tonight's forum were gathered from the public over the last few weeks. This information has been curated into the questions that will be asked this evening. We will not be taking any live questions from the audience, but we do encourage you to stay and engage with the candidates after the program. A list of candidates along with election information can be found in the back of the room. So once again, we will begin with the legislative candidates and then take a break and come back with the Sheriff and County Commission. Now, each candidate is going to start off with an introduction. We're going to give them each 1 minute for an opening statement, 1 minute for a closing statement, and they'll each have 2 minutes for each question. And again, in the fairness of time, we want to make sure that everybody adheres to that. We do have our timer up here, so make sure if you can't see her, you let us know so that she can shift so that you can stay on time. All right, let's get started. So we're going to start again with our legislative candidates. We're going to start with our opening statement. So each candidate will have 1 minute to introduce themselves. Please let us know who you are, what you're running for, and why you've chosen to run this year. And we're going to start right here, sir. And go ahead, just grab those mics, push that button if it's not already on.
Thank you for starting with me, and thank you for having us for this forum. And I think it is important to be in front of the people and speak and talk to issues. My name is Todd Beard. I'm running for the re-election for the Senate seat in District 23. I live here in Williston, have been here for 35 years. I'm a North Dakota kid, was raised in the Bismarck area, married, have 2 children, 2 girls, and we moved here in '91, and this has been home ever since. And I love this town, this area. And I have my 2 girls living in town here, and I have 4 grandchildren, and love them to death. And mostly I'm running to make sure things are right for my grandkids and the future generations to come. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark Kassler. I live out in the Beaufort area, and I have done so for most of my life. I went to school in Trenton, graduated in 2003. I also graduated from Williston State College with an associate's in 2005 and North Dakota State University with a bachelor's of science in political science in 2008. This is my home. I'm running for the North Dakota House because I want to make sure that our communities keep improving. As your representative, I will tirelessly work to improve the lives of all citizens. I will work to provide free school meals for all children, which is a family tax. This is something that the North Dakota legislature failed to do 3 times last session. I will fight to keep the state investing in our area. It is vital that we get this investment as we are the economic engine of the state and support our high-quality workforce so that people want to make this their home. This is how we strengthen our communities.
Thank you.
All right. My name's Corey Johnson. I'm running for state representative for District 23 on the Republican ticket. 2016 is when I moved to Williston and chose this community as my home. Since then, this city and this state has brought together what I call my American dream. It's where I've built a career. I bought my house here. I have my 2 children that live with me, 2 children that were born here. They're here in attendance today. I found a community that defines what I call home. I've spent 18 years in emergency services, up to and including now being the current fire chief. My entire adult life has been focused on community service. Many of you might recognize me from the work that I do or at various events throughout the community. I assure you that's not a campaign stunt. You've seen me there before, because that is who I am and what I believe in. I'm here running for the future of our community to do the work for District 23. I'm not a legislator, I'm not an activist, I'm just a community member.
Thank you.
Oh, activist, that was a funny word. Charlotte Moore, I grew up in Williston, North Dakota, and I have done everything from owning my own business to working for multiple oil field companies and advocating as an activist for my community proudly. And I have 3 children, well, 4 really, but one of them is actually in an area I can't discuss because he's in the military. So I have 3 children that live here, and I have 3 grandchildren, 1 on the way. I love my community, and I would really like your guys' vote for District 23.
Good evening. Glad to see you all here. Thank you for coming. My name is Dennis Nearing, born and raised in Williston, born and raised. I have a ranch west of town that I own and operate, currently being mostly run by my oldest daughter and my son-in-law. My wife and I, between the 2 of us, have 6 daughters, 13 grandchildren, and I'm currently one of the sitting members of the House for North Dakota from District 23, and I'm running for re-election to represent District 23 in western North Dakota. We need it a lot. That's it.
My name is Mike Steele. I'm running for District 23 House of Representatives. I was a free school lunch kid, transitioned to United States Marine, got out, was a sheetrocker. Now I'm an engineer with 2 engineering degrees working for oil companies in Williston, North Dakota. I'm a UND grad, chemical engineer. These are the experiences and strengths that I'll bring to Bismarck. I feel like we need somebody who's good at math in Bismarck. The oil industry is predicted to grow for the next 50 years or so, and there'll be incredible opportunities in innovation and business in the future, and we just need to support a talented workforce to be prepared for that. We need to work on amenities, access to affordable health care, access to affordable or quality education, and affordable housing, free school lunch for kids. I'm committed to listening and standing up for our community and getting the job done. Thank you.
All right, then over to this side.
Thank you, Mitch, and thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I want to also thank those people that are online and at the radio as well listening tonight. It's very good that we get all these people's inputs as the campaigns continue, so I hope we can hear from you in the meantime. My name is Brad Becketall. I've been a dentist in town here for 42 years. My family has its roots in Williston for over 100 years ago. The only time I've spent away from here is my college and professional school years, and then a tour of duty in Iraq during the war. Recently retired as a colonel in the National Guard in the U.S. Army, and I'm in my 12th year of the North Dakota Legislature in the Senate. The last 2 sessions, I served as chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, and I was also elected president of the Senate in the 2025 session. It's been a blessing to have the support of the community that I love and have lived in my whole lifetime, and I hope to go back to Bismarck for a final term to continue what makes this place a great place to live. Thank you.
Hi. Hi, I'm Lori Garble. I grew up northwest of Williston. I have lived most of my life in this area, and I raised my daughter here. I do a lot of volunteering in the community, and I feel like running for a legislative seat is a natural progression in serving the community that gives so much to me. I do believe as legislators we should go to Bismarck and we should focus on creating good public policy and making really sound budgetary decisions. And a fun fact about me, I graduated with my bachelor degree at the age of 61, but I am not telling you what year that was.
My name is Alex Johnson. I was born and raised here in Williston. I'm looking to bring my experience to the legislator. I'm running for District 1 House of Representatives. And I grew up here. I built my business here. I bought a home here. And I'm looking to really make a change for the future generations and my generation. I've been the general manager for River's Edge Bar and Grill. I started a business called Sanctum and Stone, what was once called Midwest Metaphysics. I've been the chair for the Williston Area Chamber of Commerce and the vice president for the library. And I'm also a planning and zoning commissioner. I've also started my own organization in Williston called Rainbow Rendezvous. So I'm very committed to community. I'm hoping to bring everybody together in those discussions that are going to happen in Bismarck. Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for the Chamber for putting this on. My name's David Richter. I'm running for re-election to the House of Representatives for District 1. I was first elected in 2018, and like Senator Beckedahl, this would be my last term of eligibility on this. I moved to Williston in 1990 with my wife Debbie, and at that time my oldest daughter, Stephanie. We raised our kids here. I've been faculty at Williston State College for over 20 years, and then I was involved in K-12 education for the years after that. So I'm a lifelong educator. As I said, was first elected in 2018, and I've worked really, really hard to get in positions at the legislature. So now that I sit on the House Appropriations Committee, and that's the first representative from Williston to be on that committee in over 20 years. And I have 2 seconds, so more to come. Thank you. I've got one.
Hello, my name's Steve Thoring. I'm a candidate for District 1 legislature. I grew up in Williston, spent my first 40 years here working in construction, the oil field. And then I went back to school and earned a degree in electrical technology at Wahpeton. From there I went to South Dakota, worked at the underground gold mine in Leeds, South Dakota. Then I got a job with the Department of Labor, MSHA, in the Mine Safety and Health Division. I worked for them in Denver and Rapid City. Then we retired and moved back to Williston to be part of this great community. I just want to listen to the people and stand up and talk to them. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our candidates, and thank you all for joining us here tonight for this. All right, we are going to move on to our questions. Now, this question is for the candidates that are running for a legislative seat for the first time. What efforts are you making to familiarize yourself with how state government operates and how the legislative budgeting process works, and what elements are you focusing on? And we're going to start over here with Lori, please. And once again, a reminder, you have 2 minutes to answer these questions, so please stay within that 2 minutes.
Okay, good question. So I have always been a lifelong learner, obviously, if I didn't get a degree till I was 61. So I have been trying to educate myself about the issues that are going to be for front and center when the session starts in January. And just some of those things right off the top of my head I can think of is nuclear energy, the stripper well tax exemption, the current GPT formula that will probably be looked at, the Rural Healthcare Transformation Program and how we'll be working with the monies that are going to be coming from the federal government to our state, what we can do to really improve rural healthcare. We no doubt are going to be addressing the universal school meals. I do believe that will pass in November and it will come to us and we'd have to look at it as part of our budget. And Governor Armstrong has already laid out what he would like to see in a budget. I was very happy to hear him hold state aid, state aid per pupil payment whole, and also the CTE budget whole at this point, but he is asking for some substantial cuts in some areas, and I think I love doing budgets, so I hope I get the opportunity to go and do it, but I will be as prepared as I can be, also knowing that as a freshman, I have a lot to learn, listen, and I know I would have great people with me there to help me with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex?
Well, I think when we are trying to familiarize ourselves with the role, we have to first communicate to people that are currently in legislative and, of course, know what's going on around your area. To work on the budgeting, I always try to look at it as, we want to work it as a business. And I'm fascinated with business, so I love looking at the budgeting process because in other roles that I have on different boards, budget makes a big deal. I mean, it's how we progress as, whether an organization or a business. And when we look at the grand budget for the state and, of course, the legacy fund, just familiarizing yourself with where those funds are going. Know what percentage, what percentage of money is going to education, which, is very important, and that's a big portion of the state's budget, but then also what is coming in. And again, you have to look at where you are going as almost in the business lens of things, what are the goals, what big expenses are coming up, especially in legislative session, and communication with other people that are currently in those roles and see what they've done and what they want to see happen in the future, because, as legislative is running, there's going to be future generations that are going to be stepping into the roles that need to familiarize with what is going on currently. So, of course, it's research and deep diving into numbers and current information that we have and see what direction we need to take. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Thoring.
Hello. I've been watching online. I've been checking out all the legislative bills and some of how many people it takes to pass it. And I noticed some of them have passed with 13 votes, and that had been all Democrats voting on that one side of the bill. I'm hoping to make myself heard there and pay attention to what's going on. I'm pretty new at this. I've never done anything like this before. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening. My wife and I left here and didn't have much thought about the democratic process. Now we see it's a really big thing in our lives, and we're hoping to take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll switch over to this side. Just get our timer reset there. All right, we'll start with Mark.
Okay. First thing I've kind of done is talk to legislators, kind of see how the process works. And a lot of how the accounts get filled is kind of a bucket system from my understanding. So an account fills up, with especially legacy fund dollars. It fills up, this account, and then it fills up this account, and this account, and this account. It's pretty complicated. It's a pretty big sheet. But what I'm really focusing on is, with the price of oil as it is right now, what is our budget going to look like? When Governor Armstrong proposed his budget, a month and a half ago, the price of oil was way lower. So what's going on now will affect how much money we have in our coffers, and with that, the passage of the school lunch bill will also affect it, because we will have to pay for school lunches before we pay for the lights. It will be in the Constitution. So that will affect what we can spend our money on. But I also want to make sure that we're not cutting essential services for our older people, our disabled people, because these people rely on the state government to function and live a normal life. So,
Thank you. Chief Johnson.
So for me, over really my whole life, I've been watching government and I've been engaged. The folks that are at this table that have already been in the legislature, they've likely heard from me on several issues, both professionally and personally. So it's something that I'm paying attention to, something that I'm learning, something that I'm engaging with, and that's not unique to now time in my life. That's the way that I've always been. Because these issues, I always highlight. A lot of people will make the comment, I don't like to be political, I don't like to engage in politics, but our whole life is based on politics, and the decisions that get made at every single level, whether it's at the township, the cities, the counties, the state, or the federal level, they all impact us. So whether we enjoy the process or not, it's a part of our everyday life. So I've made that a priority for me to learn and be engaged, go down to Bismarck and advocate for issues. And one of the things that I'm really proud of, aside from my professional experience, is I'm really proud that I got to sit on a interim committee called the Child Custody Task Force and actually learn about some of the challenges that are affecting families throughout the state. As far as the budget process goes, that is going to be a big lesson to learn, and I doubt that I'm going to be on the Appropriations Committee on the first year, but my view on the budget process is we really have to take a look at what the essential services are for government, especially at a time frame when we're being asked to take back 10% of the overall operating budget. And I've never been a proponent of the cuts across the board concept. Okay, I understand that you have to take 10% off the overall budget, but then it's the work of the legislator to find where that 10% comes from. It's not fair to say every agency is going to cut 10%. It's fair that we need to dig in, do the work, and find out the essential services that need the funding and the ones that can take the cut.
Thank you. Ms. Moore?
I agree with a lot of what Corey said. How am I going to familiarize myself with state government that operates in legislative budgeting and what I will focus on? So story time, this is going to be controversial, but this is something that is factual. So when I joined the GOP, I decided, I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader for my senator in my House of Representatives. So I would send them text messages. I would watch videos all day long of them testifying, making sure that they're aligned with our values in District 23. I'd go down there and testify. I probably testified on 12 different sessions. I was one of the people that brought forward the attention to the senators when we told them that they were throwing away kids' lunches in Minot. So that got put on the ballot that no kid goes hungry anymore because those senators were appalled by that. It had nothing to do with that when we were testifying, but that happened. Later on that day, we went and had dinner. I think it was that time. We went and had dinner with Todd and Scott and Nico at the time, with the Appropriations Committee and a couple other people, and I asked them, why doesn't the money ever stay in Williston? Because a lot of the money that comes into this state is produced by Williston. How come we don't have malls? How come our streets have ruts? Why is this all happening? And they said they weren't going to give Williston any more funds because we misappropriate funds. So I said, okay, took a deep breath, and I'm like, okay, I need to start watching the process. So at the beginning of the week, every single week for the last 4 years, I think it is, I would print out every single bill that came across on a senator and a House of Representatives, and I would dissect them. I would go through everything. That goes from money to farmland to weather modification, you name it, I read it. And I would send that legislator my opinion, like this is why, these are the facts that I am aware of. I don't know all of the answers, I never claimed to, but I would give him my opinion on education that I would get for myself on the internet, because that's pretty much the only education most of us have. So I have spent the last 4 or 5 years trying to educate my public, get them involved, but I don't have all the answers. So if I truly am worried about something, I will reach back out to my District 23 and say, okay, this is what's on the table. I would really like it if I could get your guys' input. Maybe even create some type of an app where they can just click a thing on a text and I know how my people feel.
Thank you. And Mr. Steele.
So, can you hear me? There we go. I'm not a politician. I'm an engineer. The way I've been working with budgets in my professional capacity since I've moved to Williston. And as my job's progressed, my budgets have progressed. I'm very good at it. I get things done on time and on budget. And they become very complex. I understand that down in Bismarck, the government, it'll be different, but I expect my learning curve to be very quick. I feel like one of the things here in Williston that we really need to focus on whenever the governor's talking about cutting our budget, we need to invest in the Williston area, Trenton, and the surrounding areas. Like Charlotte said, we generate over half of the GDP, and we need to stabilize that. There's outstanding opportunities for additional businesses here. We're seeing these data centers come in, the new electric generation centers come in, and we need to be ready for that.
All right, thank you, candidates, for that. Our next question is for our Senate candidates up for re-election. So, Senator Beard, Senator Bekkedahl. The question is, property tax reform was a persistent topic during the previous legislative session. Do you expect the discussion to carry through to the next term? And do you think the changes that were implemented have been effective? And we'll start over here with Senator Beard.
Thank you. So my focus generally, my first two sessions has been on policy, and I was the vice chair of education and the chair of education this last session, and I was also in energy and natural resources. And so the tax reform issue, I wasn't involved in a lot of the details that as it went through, but I did kind of like the plan as far as what was brought forward for reform. I think using earnings from the legacy fund, something that'll grow to expand that, is something that can continue. Whether that does or not will be left to future legislators and sessions. And with term limits, this is something that's I'm confident will be looked at every session going forward until some final solution has been brought. Is this what we brought forward? I thought was a good answer at the time, and I think it's something that can grow and continue into the future. And but as far as a discussion topic, it's definitely going to be there. There is no doubt about that. And it's just the question is, what's that going to look like when the wrangling's all done? I can't say, because going in thinking one thing, generally speaking, when you're done with it all on the last day, things are way different. And sometimes you get what you want, sometimes you don't. So definitely this isn't a one and done. For sure, and hopefully somebody will come up with a better plan, a better proposal on all tax reform, not just property tax. So, thank you.
Thank you. And Senator Bekkedahl.
Thank you, Mitch, for the question. I wish I had an hour to talk about this because I've been involved in this for a long time. First of all, just to set the background, in the 2023 session, Senate Majority Leader David Hogue and myself put together a bill draft for a framework for spending the interest earnings from the legacy fund. And we put together 3 buckets. You heard buckets mentioned before. And the 3 buckets were, first of all, we have to pay $102 million per biennium for the Fargo diversion project. We're paying off a a debt load there. That'll continue for another 8 sessions. Then that'll be done. We have a second bucket that is primary residence tax relief, property tax relief, and we have a third bucket that goes to the Department of Transportation to allow them for the first time to put their money into projects in local community and county projects. So that's another form of property tax relief in my mind. I currently serve as chairman of the interim interim tax relief and reform committee. In fact, we'll be meeting again in June. We'll have our 4th meeting in June. And that is focused on looking at all of the property tax exemptions that exist out there, as well as where we're going to go in the next session for recommendations on furthering property tax relief. The current property tax relief you have is called the primary residence property tax relief. That was set up so that only people that live in North Dakota and have their primary residence in North Dakota get the benefit from the legacy fund interest earnings. We thought that was very important. Currently, you get $1,600 per primary residence per year. Every $100 million more we put into that bucket gets you another $100 per year on your property tax relief. The next session, we will get approximately $150 million more dollars in that bucket. So we're looking at some more tax relief coming out of that as well. The original proposal was to try to get more money every biennium for primary residence tax relief, and I think we will continue that.
Thank you both, Senators. All right, this next question is for Representatives Richter and Nearing. So you both have sat on committees whose work impacts the day-to-day lives of residents, including education, agriculture, and water. As the area continues to grow, both in population and with development, how should the state prioritize meeting the needs of residents with regards to housing affordability, childcare, workforce recruitment, and infrastructure? And we'll start over here with Representative Richter.
Well, thank you. What's listed on this question are all really big issues that the state is facing right now. And we've been working on housing affordability. One of the things that we've tried to do is figure out a way to lower where the state can help the political subs with the infrastructure that goes into putting up a house. Right now, it depends upon where you're at, but over in this area, you're looking at just the infrastructure with sewer and roads being somewhere in the neighborhood of $60,000 to $75,000 additional onto the price of a home. So when you come out into this area of the state, Williston, average house in Williston is $450,000. We are the highest, we're up there with Burleigh County, as having the highest priced housing in the state of North Dakota. We've talked with some of the builders about, can we do something with the low interest loans? Can we get that loan rate, the interest rate down? And that seems to have a little bit of interest, and we may be able to do that using some of the funding that comes out of the legacy fund earnings to possibly do that. Child care is another big issue. I know there's a couple of people on this dais that are working really hard on child care and how do we provide that child care. In the past 2 years with what we've done with child care, it was supposed to be a great effort. It's only produced about 1,500 new spots statewide, which is not a lot of spots statewide. And when you come into an area like Williston, there's a lot of need for child care. Well, I could go on for days on this one. Workforce recruitment is a top priority with the Department of Commerce. They're looking at it very, very thoroughly. And I've got 2 seconds to say, I'll talk about infrastructure at another time.
Thank you, sir. And then over here to Representative Nearing.
Hey, in my opinion, the state shouldn't be attempting to deal with housing affordability, child care, workforce recruitment, infrastructure. That should be accomplished. If you want to fix those things, lower property taxes. Get rid of them. Lower sales tax. People will flood into this country. They'll bring businesses, they'll bring workers, everybody will come. If you want more of something, like child care, all of these things you're trying to do here, let the people keep their money, Let private business do what it does, and it will take care of itself.
Thank you, representatives. Okay, we're going to jump back over to our first-time candidates once again. So economic diversification is often discussed as necessary for sustaining both the local economy as well as the state economy. What role do you think the state should play in incentivizing new businesses to come to the state or encouraging existing businesses to expand? And what does this mean for Western North Dakota? And we'll start over here down at the end with Mr. Steele.
So this is interesting, because I want you to flip back to the last screen, with all those things. Okay, we'll start over. I want to flip back to the last screen because all those issues that they were talking about is, in my opinion, what we need to address to encourage existing businesses and expand. You know, I kind of joke is, you know, here in Williston, our unemployment is like 2 people, and they don't want a job. You know, so if we need to attract talented, quality workforce, and in that, some affordable housing. I was just reading that where Watford has offered $11 million for first-time home buyers for affordable housing key personnel. I'm not saying that's what we need to do, but we definitely need to address the affordable housing. And this is first that I learned that it was $60,000 or $70,000 for permits for new housing. There's certainly some things that we can do to incentivize there. As I'm talking to builders in the Williston area, they're talking about even doing like small duplexes that they're like $300,000, $350,000. You know, that's not, I mean, the oil field, the school teachers, the policemen, the firemen, we all make a good wage. But, you know, the first time that we can't get into a house at that price. So, you know, as these businesses move here, they need to see, we need to have a workforce, a talented workforce that they can choose from to employ.
All right, thank you. And we'll jump up here to Ms. Moore. Yes.
And encouraging existing businesses to expand. Well, what I don't want to see is big companies to come into this town and get these tax breaks when they're supposed to contribute to the community later on and do good things. I don't want to see new businesses get these huge tax breaks while everybody in this community suffers and has to have our taxes go up because we're compensating. Because that money doesn't just come from anywhere. If they're going to give it to somebody, they're taking it from somebody else. What does that mean for Western North Dakota? I want a Target. I've wanted a Target my whole life. I love Kohl's. I'd rather have a Kohl's. I would love a mall. I would also like to not drive down the street and wreck my car every single time I do it. So to get businesses to come here, I want to build a community, in my opinion, where people want to come here. I would love to, instead of paying all of these people to do all of these studies for this community, I would like somebody to look at different communities within the state or the country, what's working, what's failing. Like, take that initiative. Don't spend $75,000 for somebody that lives in Washington, D.C. to come to Williston and give your opinion. Like, how about we be more proactive, save that $75,000, take a little more time and see what works in communities and what doesn't. Because I don't want people to just come here for work. I want people to come here because it's a beautiful place to live, a beautiful place to raise your family. And bringing new businesses are awesome. Having new schools, I've wanted one since I was in grade school. It's great, but we gotta take care of the people that are here right now that are already paying the taxes.
Thank you. All right, Chief Johnson.
So this is a tough question because there's a lot on either side of it. So does less regulation and less red tape help? Absolutely it does, and that's going to drive the workforce forward. But we're also at a time where there's been a lot of decisions that have been made that are outside of our control, that are even up into the federal level, that put our industries at a very hard time. And the option is do we just want to come to a standstill? And maybe that's the answer, I don't know. But, you know, that's the fear of this, is do we want to just come to a hard stop and not have any progress and not get the things that we need? The challenge to Williston is from 2010 to 2020, whether we want to admit it or not, we had 124% population growth. Okay? Not only does that mean we need more infrastructure with roads, sewer, water, we also need the services that are available to support that 124% increase. So there has to be some sort of investment into the economic development of our community so that we don't build up and then just bust. You know, it's been highlighted a few times that the population of Williston has leveled. Okay, and that's true. Okay, there hasn't been significant growth since, I'm just going to go on a limb and say since 2020, but probably slightly before that. We have stabilized and we have mellowed. But if we don't have those investments to get the things like the targets, to get the parks and recreation facilities, then we are going to bust and people aren't going to stay here. As somebody that recruits employees, that is the #1 reason that people leave, because they don't have the facilities to call this home. They don't have the same facilities as they can get somewhere else. So what is the answer for it? I don't know, but it's a combination of there needs to be incentives, loans, tax breaks, and also a combination of lowering the regulation and cutting the red tape.
Thank you. And Mr. Kessler.
Okay. The state has a very big role to play incentivizing new businesses. One way that the state can incentivize new businesses is to give loans through the Bank of North Dakota. That's kind of our secret weapon. Especially existing businesses, we can give them low interest loans to expand their business. But the state has a big role to play in especially something like AI data centers. Right now, AI data centers are the Wild West. The state needs to eliminate the option of the companies to do an NDA with the farmer who buys the land, and because that circumvents our anti-corporate farming laws and the public input, especially if that's right next to your house. With that, all of a sudden one day you have a data center next to you. So what does this mean for Western North Dakota? I think, like I said, we need that investment from the state. The only way we can keep growing, especially with things like infrastructure, we're going to need the state to invest, especially since we send a lot of our money to the state. So the state needs to pick up that tab, because right now the city of Williston is heavily in debt, and the state, because the state did not invest into it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll jump over to this side and we'll start with Ms. Garble.
Okay, when I think about this, I start at the local level, and I look at all the resources that we have here in Williston. We have the SBDC, who helps with putting together financing packages for new businesses or to grow businesses that are already here. We have the Flex Pace Buy Down, I think that's the right term, coming from the Bank of North Dakota. We can access those funds to help new businesses or businesses expand. We have our economic development group here in Williston that has brought in Target. They're bringing in Chick-fil-A. They're doing great things for us. Those are all local resources that we have. How I think that the state can play a role in that is they're going to have to look at that 3% cap that they put in place with the property tax relief. I visited with Senator Beckedahl, and he tells me that our budget now here in City of Williston, we shouldn't see a big impact with that 3% cap, but there will be communities and local entities that are going to have to work within that, and it may stifle their ability to grow. That would be one way I can see the state helping. And what does it mean for Western North Dakota? Right now, we're dealing with two big things, I think, out in the county: data centers, wind farms. It would be nice if not the state itself, but a statewide organization would help put something in place to help communities make sure that they're ready for these things when they come, like a template. What do you do? How do you protect your resources and make those decisions? it's economic development, but it comes with a cost, and we have to weigh those things out. Thank you.
Thank you. And Alex?
When I think of Williston in general, I think of so much opportunity. Everybody here has an opportunity to build a business, grow that business, and everybody is here to support that, right? So when you think of the state level, I think we need to go back to the past question about infrastructure and affordable housing, because that's going to be what brings people to this area. When people come to this area and they move here and they see that houses are so high, or it costs so much to build. When you think about like water, utilities, I want to focus on seeing where we can help the infrastructure to bring those people in and have affordable housing to where those people want to live here, where they want to come here. And then you've got to think of retention. If you look around, everywhere's hiring. We have to bring that workforce here. So that's a big focus that you're going to have to expect if you want to bring new businesses in. We have to make sure that the businesses that are already here already have that workforce. So when you think of retention, like that's going to be where the state needs to think about is bringing in the infrastructure and building on what we already have and fixing what we already have. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Thoring?
Everybody brings up a lot of good comments. I believe we should not give them the tax benefits for the new businesses. 10 years is a long time. What happens if those businesses close and move out of town in 8 years? What does this mean for Western North Dakota? We need to worry more about affordable housing, education. The people in North Dakota, what about the flaring on the oil wells? There needs to be some studies done on whether the gas is killing our people in North Dakota. Is it helping us? I don't think so. I guess I don't really know what to do. I just think we should take care of the people here and see what happens. That's it.
Thank you. All right. Now we are going to move on to all of their candidates that are up for re-election, so our Senate and representatives. Okay. School funding continues to be a challenging topic, especially related to funding for constructing or improving school infrastructure. What is your stance on the role that state funding should play in supplementing local property taxes for building new schools or enhancing existing ones? And I'm going to start with Representative Richter down here.
Thank you. My role on the Education and Environment Division of Appropriations is I have the K-12 budget, and I also am the lead on the Career and Technical Education budget. So I'm working on the school budgets all the time. The topic of what role does the state play in building school buildings has been something that's been a very hot topic. And we've had many conversations of how do you do it, does the state do it? Last session we proposed a piece of legislation that takes the gross production tax, which is your local property tax from the oil industry, is a 5% of the oil revenue, and letting the school districts in oil country have access to that gross production tax. Right now, it's a deduct out of the funding formula. So they get the money, but it's subtracted. And so you might say, well, Williston Public Schools is getting $10 million in oil money. Well, then they're losing $10 million of state funding because that $10 million makes up for it. So we had a proposal in. We worked really hard on it. We got it through the House. It got changed a little bit in the Senate. I know Senator Beckedahl and Senator Beard worked really hard trying to get it passed in the Senate, lost by 1 vote. But we'll bring that one back because it's a good idea, and we do have support out of the appropriations and the budgeters out of the Senate side to get that in. But I want to address something else that's been said. On appropriations, we deal with everybody's budget, and there's been a lot said about Williston and what the state needs to do. Quality of life is what gets people here. So over the last 2 sessions, what we've been able to do is when Williston was building, they accumulated a lot of debt. The last session we got $7 million a year for Williston to pay down that debt. We've brought in $30 million to Western Area Water Supply to pay down their debt. We got $28 million to go to Williston State College to build a health science facility, which is very significantly needed in this area. So the state has been stepping in, and I'm over time again. Thank you.
All right, Senator Beckdahl.
Thank you, Mitch. Can't tell. Is this on now? Okay. So I would defer more to Senator Beard and Representative Richter on these issues because they're the policy guys that deal with the state school issues. I tell people all the time that they tell me, what do you do as an appropriator when we have too little money or you have too much money? And I tell them it doesn't matter what amount of money you have. The state needs to set its policies and prioritize a priority list of those policies, and we'll fund as much as we can. That's what we do with the money. We don't go over budget. We always balance our budget. When it comes to supplementing local property taxes for building new schools, as Representative Richter mentioned, we did have a bill last session that would help that area. We also have been funding for several sessions now a school lending fund. It's 1% interest for building and adding on to the schools that we currently have from the Bank of North Dakota. And so we appropriate money into that last session. In the session before, I believe we had $75 million of new money going into that fund. And that money is applied for by school districts as assisting to keep the property tax debt load off. Instead of borrowing it at 5 or 6%, you get it at 1%. You get it for a long time. So that's what we've been doing at the state level to supplement property taxes, is provide lower cost money. People want us to always just provide money to build schools. Right now, there's about $1.25 billion in school debt statewide. There's not enough money in the state to fund $1.25 billion of school debt right now. I wish there was, but there just isn't, and maintain all the other priorities that the policy committees have set for us. But we will continue to put money into low-interest loans. We'll continue to have the discussion about how to get more money in grants. We had that in the past with the Oil Impact Grant Fund. That went away by House action about 4 sessions ago. We'll try to bring that back. I managed to keep that on the book, so it's there if we ever need it. That would be the avenue to use.
Thank you very much. All right, Senator Beard.
Thank you. And I agree with Senator Beckdahl as far as the state has done some things to try to help and alleviate those costs, especially through the property tax relief. Policy-wise, there's a couple of problems I see with this. One is when you look at the state as a whole, and you start talking about constructing schools, what does that look like? What does that mean? Right now, it's left to the local control. Local control determines that. Now, in this community, we've seen growth in our schools, and we've expanded. We've had to build. West Fargo, even more so. Much of the state is diminishing in size in their schools. They're having to join together, and so how far does the state take that? If you have a community that wants to build a new school and they can show just need, but they're going to close in 2 or 3 years because the size of the school is diminishing, how is that a good investment? And what happens in a city? Let's say a city that's on the East Coast wants to build a $150 million school, and really all they need is 30 million, but they want all the amenities. Construction can be a difficult thing, and that's why it really should be left to local control. I think the state is doing things to assist, but how does the state help to a point where it takes it over without then dictating to the locals what those schools should look like? And that's a difficult thing. And I can't really get on board with that. And so I really think local control is the way that needs to be handled with some state assistance work and help.
Thank you. And Representative Nearing.
So since I'm running to represent District 23, I'll answer this from District 23's view. It is my contention that the extraction tax on all oil coming out of the ground is a property tax. That oil is owned by a mineral or a royalty owner, and if you tax something that's a property or owned by somebody, it is a property tax. And if we kept that extraction tax in the county where it's taxed as a property tax, which is what should happen, not only would District 23 have no problem building schools, the entire 5 counties in western North Dakota would have no trouble building schools.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you again for our candidates. Now it's hard to believe it, but it has already been an hour, so we are going to move on to our closing statements for our representatives here. Once again, you're going to get 1 minute for a closing statement to summarize what you would be able to bring to the table as a legislature. And we're going to start down at the end here for D23.
Hello, I'm Mike Steele. I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this and for all you people for showing up. This is how democracy works, right? We show up, we ask questions, we become informed, and then we go and vote. When I arrived here 15 years ago with a $800 car and my best pair of $8 pants, the Bakken provided me opportunities of a lifetime that I'm immensely grateful for. That's why I'm up here today, is to try to ensure that that path stays available for the future generations here in Williston. Williston is a great community. We're going to grow. That's just the way that's going to work. And I would like to be sitting at the table when those discussions are had so that we can grow in a controlled way. Thank you.
I guess one of the things that I try to remember when I'm in Bismarck is I don't represent the state of North Dakota. I represent 16,000 people living in District 23. So everything that I look at has to be looked at through that lens. And you can go to legis.com or gov.gov, I believe, and look up sessions. You can look up committee meetings. I have a voting record. You can see how I voted, and you'll see why. Thank you. Glad you showed up.
I absolutely love my District 23 representatives. They're amazing. They're very active. This room's beautiful. Thank you for everyone that came out and took the time out of your day to come listen to us have a conversation. My closing statement. I've worked really hard to bring District 23 and District 1 together because I think that we'd be stronger as a united front, and I would try to actively involve the District 23 and the District 1 GOP to do events together, because we have District 2, we have District 23, and we have District 1, and we're all in the same exact area. And I think that we'd be stronger in Bismarck if we actually came in as a united front and we collaborated on what we were trying to accomplish. So I guess my goal is to try to bring our districts together so we're stronger for Western North Dakota. Thank you.
Well, thank you to everybody that came out. I'm really excited about this election year for one reason. It is busy. I can't imagine, I never would have imagined this many candidates sitting up for the legislative races, let alone the city commission, the county races that are going on, a ton of elections, and I think that brings out the best for our region, because not only do the candidates have to work and they have to show you who they are, you get to choose. You actually have a choice in front of you to make the best decision. I'm here. I will be available. You've heard my thoughts. I'd love to talk to you more. I am a part of this community. I am one of you guys, and that is my goal, if elected, is to go down and represent our community. I've had a great time so far. June 9th is coming quick, but I've got to meet with a lot of people, and I've got to get a lot of ideas and a lot of concerns of things that people want to see improved or fixed. And thank you, and I hope I get the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you to everybody who came out tonight, and thank you to the Williston Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum. This is an important election. During the next session, whoever is elected will face tough decisions. The youngest, oldest, and most vulnerable of us will bear the brunt of this. If we cut the budget, we need to make sure that we're cutting wasteful and unnecessary programs. We also need our legislators to fight for us, bring up ideas, and not vote no all the time. We need real change here in District 23 and in Bismarck. Most in the room want that change. If you like the status quo, please feel free to vote for other candidates. If you truly want change, then vote for me. I will work to end the family tax, fight for smart investment in our area that will grow our communities, and support the high-quality workforce we have here. If you would like to know more about me, come up and talk to me after, or you can check out me on social media at Mark Kassler for ND, and I appreciate your vote on June 9th.
Thanks you. And again, I'm Todd Beard, District 23 Senator. My big focus going into the next session, I've been working in the interim really hard on the child care that was kind of brought up tonight. Child care relicensing and restructuring of rules is going on right now, and that's going to be a big topic next session. And I'm going to be working hard on that. I want to make sure one of my big focuses ever since I've gotten to Bismarck is to look at the state agencies and make sure that they're doing things appropriately and not imposing rules they shouldn't be. And I think been effective in making some change in that area, and I would like to continue that. And I'm asking for your vote. I know when you see the ballot, and please, the primary elections matter. Don't let anyone tell you they don't. They matter. Please get out and vote, and you'll see me unopposed. Check the box, please. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll jump over here to District 1, start with Senator Bekkedahl.
Thank you, Mitch. And I want to thank, first of all the candidates for being in the arena. Democracy works best when people step forward and voters engage as well as you are tonight with us being here. As I said, I'm Brad Bekkedahl. I'm running for re-election for a final term in the North Dakota Senate. The North Dakota Senate is a chamber where relationships and respect get results, and I've been blessed by my peers in the chamber with their support over the years. Whether it's with the bills I've sponsored and passed for Hub City funding, debt relief, infrastructure projects, school revenue, tax relief, and four-laning Highway 85, I've always sought to make a difference, not just for Williston, but for all of North Dakota. I appreciate the support I've received from my fellow residents and humbly ask one last time for your continued support to finish many of the tasks remaining to truly make Williston and North Dakota the best city and state in the country to work, live, and raise a family.
So I agree. This election is very exciting. It's exciting to be a part of it. It also is a little bit overwhelming to know that the job I'm asking you to give me is not going to be an easy one at all. I appreciate that everyone came out tonight. I hope to earn your vote, and I'd really appreciate your vote. And thank you, Mitch, and your group. Is it just a group of two still?
Still just the two of us.
Thank you for putting this forum together, and thank you all for educating yourself and being informed when you do make your decisions this fall. And I hope I will be one of them. Thank you.
Representation matters, and I hope to represent all of you. As we go through the election cycle, I just want to know that anytime, and it's even after the election cycle, I'm here for you guys. I hope to bring my experience and what I know to the table, but I also hope that you come to me and bring what you have to the table as well. Like this is what it's all about. It's a group effort, and I hope to lead the way. Thank you.
Do I get his 30 seconds? I want to thank everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it. Williston has given a lot to my family and to myself over the last 30 years, and I'm very appreciative of it. And we've always been a family that has given back to the community. And it's been my honor and my privilege to give back to this community. I've worked really hard down in Bismarck to get a reputation to be trustworthy and build the relationships that are necessary to get things done. So as a result, I sit on a lot of committees statewide and some of them nationally, and every time I sit on one of those committees, I'm representing not just North Dakota, but I'm representing Williston. So Williston is getting a voice in a lot of different ways at the state level when we sit in on those committees. So I would appreciate everything Williston's done for me, and I'm just honored to be able to give something back to Williston, and hopefully, you'll check that box. Thank you.
I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's amazing. I didn't think there'd be this many people here. A lot of supporters from both sides. I want you to know I'm here for Williston. I grew up here. I was raised on the streets of Williston. Rode my bike around all the time. Had a great time. I'm here to see that the people of Williston are representative, and I want to make sure that I can hear what they have to say. I'll be out to meet them and greet them. I'll be out band day, passing out flyers and having a great time with everybody here. And thank you all for coming again. Bye.
And thank you again to all of our legislative candidates for participating tonight. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Thank you. Okay, we are going to take a short break, reset with our next candidates, and then we will hear from the county commission and sheriff candidates. And once again, make sure if you have questions for these candidates that you approach them, get their information, have a conversation with them. All right, we're going to get started here in about 2 minutes. So if our candidates could make their way to the forward, and we could have everybody get seated. I mean, I got like half a bottle. We can swap. Like, if you guys are cool. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're going to get started with the second half of the evening. We're going to hear from candidates running for our county contest. So we've got 2 candidates for the Williams County Sheriff and 4 candidates for County Commission. So again, similar to the state legislature, commissioners are going to be divided into districts, and the candidate must live in the district they are running to represent. There we go. Each candidate will once again have 1 minute to kind of introduce themselves and 2 minutes for each question. All right, so we're going to start with our opening statements. Candidates, you will each have a minute for your opening statement to introduce yourselves, so please say who you are, what you're running for, and why you've chosen to run this year. And we'll start over here with the sheriff's race. Yep, we'll start, there you go.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for everyone that was involved in putting this on. I know it's a lot of work. It's a beautiful location, good turnout, so thank you for that. I'm Verlin Quandy. I am seeking re-election as your sheriff for Williams County. I am a lifelong Williams County resident, grew up in Alamo and Wild Rose areas. I've been working in law enforcement with Williams County since the start of my career back in 1998, so just about 28 years in this field. Been through a lot of different things within the growth of the sheriff's office. So when I first started, it was very low numbers, like 32 people. We're up over 100 employees now. So pretty dynamic growth in those 3 decades. I think the men and women that work there are doing an amazing job. And I am asking for your vote to continue to do the work that I think they do a very good job at. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Momchilo Babik, and first and foremost, I want to thank you for being here tonight and showing up in this democratic process that we have and giving me time to speak a little bit about myself. I have kind of made it a point to start every one of these to give like 5 most important things about me that I think are most important. First and foremost, I'm a Christian. I stand strong in my faith. Second of all, I'm a father of 2 daughters, and they mean the world to me. I'm very proud of my oldest right now, who just got into NASA internship, and I think that's amazing for her. Third, I am a husband, and I would like to take a second to recognize all the spouses that are here tonight because they're fighting this battle with us even though they didn't sign up to run for a candidacy. I'm a veteran of the United States Army, National Guard, and I have been in law enforcement for 13 years, and I'm looking to improve and add on to what Williams County already has. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll jump over. Mr. Anderson.
Good evening. Name is Bo Anderson. This would be my third term if I'm reelected to the Williams County Commission. I farm and ranch west of Williston, originally from Bainville, Montana. Graduated high school from there and went on and got a degree in agriculture education from Montana State University in Bozeman. And when I returned home, taught high school agriculture in Trenton for 4 years, and then taught agriculture up at the college here for 9. So I will tell you, I've learned a lot in the last 8 years being on the Williams County Commission. When I first ran, I remember sitting up here with these gentlemen and a few others, and one of my big things was, fixing county roads. And I think it's substantially more than that. I sit on quite a few different committees and boards, and glad to do it again for another 4 years if reelected. Thank you.
My name's Corey Hansen. I'd like to thank the Chamber for putting this on and you folks for coming. I'm also looking to continue my service as the third term for Williams County. Currently, I'm the chairman my second time through for the Williams County Commission. I've kind of had a history of giving back to the community. I started as a volunteer fireman. I put in 21 years before I ran for this. I retired as a deputy chief here in Williston. I'm a fourth generation farmer east of town here, so have some pretty deep roots. My wife and I have lived here our whole lives. We've raised 3 kids, and now I've got 3 grandkids or 2 grandkids that live across the street from me. So we've got our whole family here, and I just want to try to help out and do what's right for Williams County. Thank you.
Right, hi, I'm Carla Kucher. I'm running for County Commissioner for District 5. So a little information about me. I was born and raised here in Williams County. I have lived in all 3 districts throughout my life. I am currently married to my husband, Glenn, of 32 years in July. We have 4 wonderful sons. Our 2 oldest are Navy veterans. 3 of our boys still reside here in Williston. We have 4 grandchildren that are in Washington. I am, like I said, a wife, a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm an aunt. My family is the #1 pride in my life. I have devoted my last 32 years of marriage to my husband and to my children, my nieces and nephews, and to other people's children who we had taken in along the way of them growing up. I would just appreciate being elected for your District 5 County Commissioner.
Hello, my name's Barry Ramberg. I'm a lifelong resident of Williams County. Grew up 7 miles south of Tioga. Got 3 daughters and 7 grandchildren. I've been self-employed since '92. Actually, that's got a background, I guess, in ranching, farming, oil field. That's roughly about it, really. Nothing else to say.
Short and sweet. All right. Well, thank you very much. Welcome to our candidates here. Let's move on to our questions. So, first question goes to our county candidates. As the population of Williams County continues to grow and we continue to see more interest in commercial and industrial development, what do you think the biggest challenge will be to the county? What do you think the role of county official is to address it? Please answer in the context of the position you are running for. And we'll start here with Mr. Anderson.
Well, the biggest challenge I think that we have as a county is figuring out how to properly grow. A lot of this economic development, some of it is very new to us. I mean, I have a history of production agriculture, so big economic development projects are not really in my wheelhouse. But the good news is that's why there's 5 commissioners on the board, and there's always somebody that has expertise. But one good thing about, I've noticed about Williams County is we are very good at hiring good people to work for us that can do the research, help us make proper decisions and make the right decisions. But as a county official, I take pride in listening to the folks in my district and making sure that they're heard, their concerns are heard, and that they give us what their priorities are. And folks that live in my district and are there, I mean, they're top priority for me. So I make sure that when folks call, if it might not be right away, but I do my best to call them back as soon as I can and get those concerns and what is that they need, make sure that they're heard. So as a county official, I just think it's important to make sure that we protect the folks that live here and do the best that we can in doing sound development and making those changes for the betterment of our county and for the folks that live here.
The hardest thing for me right now is not staring directly at the timer. So I apologize. It keeps sucking me right back in. One of the biggest challenges right now is making sure we have the correct policies and procedures in place for the growth that we are seeing. Some of the things that we've done coming up to this, we have actually put a moratorium on different things until we could go get the planning and zoning regulations built the correct way. One of them was data centers. Right now there is going to be solar. We're working on some new planning and zoning regulations for that before it comes. Currently there is some wind tower things that are going on, but the key to all this, in my belief, is it's a property rights issue, and that's one of the things that we've got to look at, because people have the right to do some of these things on their land, but it can't impede on somebody else's land. So there's the fine line that we've got to walk between, you know, are we taking care of the property rights owner? Are we taking care of them? Are we also taking care of the neighborhood? Because whether it's, and I guess I refer to them all as a neighborhood when I have a neighborhood at the farm, and it just so happens that our houses are a little ways further apart and the yards aren't quite this close together, but it's all a neighborhood. So you want to just and make sure that we have rules in place that are going to make you be a good neighbor, and that's kind of the key to what I'm looking at. So thanks.
I think, honestly, the biggest challenge for our county commissioners right now is transparency. We are, as citizens, community members, in any district, we are finding things out after the fact, when we don't have time to go in, be at a meeting, ask our questions, voice our opinions. I hear that a lot as I'm running around talking to everyone in my community, what they want to see. That is one of their main biggest things. We also have the data centers, the AI centers, the wind farms, like Corey said. You know, where do we put that line of infringing on the property owner and infringing on the neighbors? And right now, North Dakota does not, whether it's your city level, your county, or your state government, we have no laws, regulations, rules when it comes to these places. So we're allowing multi-billion-dollar companies to come in, build these monstrosities, and they can do whatever they want, and who cares about your neighborhood? We've seen the mess on the west side of town. The commission has admitted already that, yeah, things need to be looked in way more. They didn't expect the problems that occurred, but now they're aware. So let's make sure we are saying, okay, we agree with technology, we want to improve it, and we want to go along with it. But if you want to come into our community, these are the rules you are going to have to abide by. And we need to stop giving huge tax breaks for these multi-billion-dollar companies to come in here and see if the data center you know, what actual income besides property taxes are we gaining? Are we going to gain from them? Is it worth it for us to lose thousands and thousands of acres to these huge things that are not very pretty to look at? Thank you.
I guess I would mirror a lot with what Bo and Corey had to say about our staff. And as far as, I do get to sit on county planning and zoning, so that's I don't know if it's really call it a leg up, I guess, as far as what's happening or what's proposed. And the moratoriums that Corey had talked about were put in place. That also includes these big battery centers too. That's going to be, well, evidently it's going to be a big thing coming up, I guess, in the future. But as far as the data centers and whatnot, we do have in place right now the setbacks where they can't be, I believe it's a mile from a habited residence. And we're still currently working on the data centers and the mine, or the batteries, I guess. So we'll see how that comes to play, I guess, once we get that all finalized. The other thing, I guess, would be the infrastructure. Everybody's, you know, it was brought up earlier to the roads. That's going to be a major thing with the future oil development. The multi-well pads are a good thing because they're not stomping all over the country, but the road that they happen to put it on, it's just about a death sentence for that particular part of the country. And but they've been good to work for or work along with, I guess, for the most part. So I really, you know, can't talk too tough about it, I guess. But and I believe, I guess we'll as far as addressing the account for how to think about the role of county official, it'd be we have long-term planning for county highway. We're working. Oh, I'm sorry. I got the opposite problem of Corey. I wasn't looking at it at all.
Thank you very much, candidates. All right, we're actually going to jump over to our sheriff candidates now. So this question is based on public input that we gathered prior to the event. So in your own words, let me move forward here. In your own words, how do you see the role of the sheriff's office when a federal enforcement agency such as U.S. Customs and Border Protection or Immigration and Customs Enforcement comes into an area to conduct an operation? We'll start with Sheriff Kwandy.
If we have a federal organization coming in to do an operation, I think whether it's Customs, Border Protection, Immigration, ICE, whatever that may be, hopefully they're going to come in and they're going to do the deconfliction things that they should be doing with their local law enforcement partners. That way we don't end up with a blue-on-blue situation where we end up with a fatality potentially from them not communicating with us. And I think from my experiences with our federal partners that I've seen through my time is they're usually pretty good about communicating with us coming to our area. We're going to work with them in whatever capacity we can under the scope of North Dakota law, federal law, and the Constitution. So what that looks like exactly, I don't know. It would depend on the operation. We'll know a little bit more about kind of what those expectations are from the 287G program as we work through the training on those pieces and work through hopefully a contract with being able to house federal inmates as well. But ultimately, it's going to be that partnership, and we're going to do the things that we can within the color of law to assist.
Thank you.
Sheriff Kwandy gave a very good explanation of what we're supposed to be doing, and I honestly feel the same way about this. Federal law enforcement is a very, very important aspect for every single sheriff, especially in today's day when we have ICE agents doing their job finally. And I think it's very important to support them in every shape, form, or way that we can, whether that is providing information with them, to them, whether that is working to them and giving them backup, or giving them a place where they can store their inmates until they're ready to process them, deport them, or whatever else. On the top of a U.S. Border and Protection and ICE and everybody else, we in the community, whether Williston Police Department, Williams County Sheriff's Office have also worked with many different agencies to include DEA, FBI, and all of them. And I think that in general, so far, we have always maintained to keep that line of communication open, to assist them when they need assistance, and to provide them with the resources that we have, which quite honestly, sometimes they have a whole lot more than we do. So it goes kind of both ways, because a lot of times they supplement us on the things that we don't have. I think that working with a federal agency is very important to our community, to our citizens, and it's very important that as a sheriff, we stay on top of these programs and on top of the operations that they have in our area, as Sheriff Quanda said earlier, so we don't come into a situation where we have friendly fire or anything like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, sticking with the theme of collaboration and cooperation for our commission candidates, in your opinion, what is the role of the county commission in regards to working with townships and cities within the county? And we'll start down at the end.
Well, I guess, or I would say it'd be, it's a very important role, because I represent the people in District 5, whether you live in, Epping or Ray or Tioga or where, I mean, you're still a resident of the county. And as far as the townships, we work very closely with them. We hold annual meetings with them. We walk through their needs. So if they're going to need help with, they petition us with culverts. So we know what they're looking at for their needs for the upcoming year. The cities, I get back to them, I guess. We work with, we try to do whatever we can for them, other than, we don't fund stuff right in the towns. I guess that's up to them, I guess. But, we do whatever we can.
Thank you.
I do think that working with your townships is very important. I think one of the biggest things we probably all could agree on is our roads. I've lived in my area for over 40 years now. My road is gravel. I don't know if you can even call it that. But I think if the county commissioners and the township work together, the amount of money that's been spent just on my road alone, between gravel, leveling, doing what they do, definitely probably 3 or 4 times over could have paid for that road to have been cemented. And all of that upkeep would be off of the township's budget. They wouldn't have to, constantly be trying to fix all these roads in the county. So if there was a way for us to work together with them, figure out funding, help them, whether we have to go to the state level too, to gain more funding, I think going for the roads for our communities all over is the most important thing to do when it comes to the townships. Other than that, when the townships, unless they have issues, we need to let them run their township how they see fit. They're the ones in that township with their small community. So let them, and they can let us know if they need help or not, or would like to discuss funding in other ways that they can gain it.
Thank you.
One of the things I would say is we work very closely with townships. This morning, actually, we approved $600,000 that came into Williams County through the frost law permits, and that will be divided up among the townships.
52 of them.
52 townships this year, and we do that each year. We used to have some stipulations that we've taken those off completely. We're just saying, you guys live there, you need to take care of it. Here's the money that we can give you. Then also there is state funding that they're able to go get. So I think we do. And another thing in planning and zoning, that department, there's always a questionnaire that goes to the township when somebody wants a zone change or And that's talking about anything. If somebody wants to build a house, they want to rezone it to a different zoning, it goes to the township, and the township has, there's 3 boxes. They can say, accept, decline, or undecided. So we ask them, then the township chairman and the officers sign that, they send it in, that goes to planning and zoning. As far as the cities go, we've had grants that we've put together. We obviously meet with Williston being the biggest city in Williams County, and I always reminded their commissioners that there's a city in Williams County. So we meet with them once a month, talk about what they've got coming up and what type of things we can do to assist them. And some of it's little things, some of it's big things. Example of that is if our plow truck is going by and it's a little short part of a city road and we're driving by it already, we'll go ahead and hit it, but then the city will also do some of that for us too. So, you know, just trying to find those ways, because the bottom line is it's all taxpayer money, and it doesn't really matter which truck it is that's there. It might as well get the snow taken care of.
So, Bo Anderson, one thing I will definitely say is the collaboration between all of these groups is absolutely key. And the unique thing about the state of North Dakota is we have townships, and I think the township boards, there are the government closest to the people. And it's extremely important to fight for those folks and make sure that townships remain. And I will say I was on the township board for Round Prairie for about 10 years before I ran for county commission. So it was a unique experience. Was new to that. You know, when I grew up in Montana, we didn't have townships. But the neat part about all these levels of government is they all have their own unique responsibilities and goals. And sitting on the county commission, I've been proud to speak and talk to any of those folks. Actually just had a gentleman call me this morning about he was directed by one of the local townships that he had to go to planning and zoning to get permission to build on a section line. And I said, sir, planning and zoning has nothing to do with that. But the unique part about all this stuff is it's identified in North Dakota Century Code. And when folks call about roads in their area or ones that are poor condition, we first have to decide, well, what road is it? Is it a county road? Is it a township road? And if it's a township road, I, as a county commissioner, have zero role over that. I mean, that is a township road. That's up to that board to maintain and to deal with. And if they have concerns or issues that they need help with, more than happy to listen to those concerns and see if there's a way that a county, that our board can help them out and work with them. But glad to work with all 3 of those entities. Extremely important.
Thank you very much, candidates. Okay, back over here to the sheriff's side. So geographically, Williams County is a very large county. So large, in fact, fun fact, that it's bigger than Rhode Island. So for the sheriff's office and its patrol deputies, that can be a lot of ground to cover. So what is your philosophy for providing county-wide coverage and for working alongside the police departments in communities like Ray, Tioga, and Williston? And we'll start with Mr. Babick.
So I think this is probably one of the most important aspects in law enforcement in Williams County is how do we divide deputies so everybody is covered and that everybody has access to them when they need them. So City of Ray, City of Tioga, City of Williston, they all have local police departments. But out of those, City of Williston is running anywhere between 7 and 10 officers at any given time, if not more, even during the day hours. While City of Ray and Tioga are running a whole lot less, and they have a population that's relatively large. My idea to address this issue is simply to start finding the exact call volumes around these neighborhoods and then sectoring off the county so we have representation in all corners at all times. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the deputy is just going to be assigned to one area for the whole night, but they are going to have a priority that they're going to be assigned to and that they should be staying in the area of. As far as the cooperation between us and the other agencies, I think that we should share our resources with them and help out all the other police departments, so when they don't have a coverage, we can step in and assist them with whatever they have going on.
Thank you.
Yeah, Williams County is a very large county geographically. Road miles as well are substantial, so this is a challenge, certainly. Some of the things that we've been able to do with our specialty divisions, our school resource deputies that are in these communities with some frequency, as well as our weight enforcement individuals that are out within the county. They're also visible in being able to take calls that come up in those locations as well, not just our patrol division. Investigations is out frequently in those locations doing follow-up as well that can respond to calls, and so is the civil process division. So there's a lot of different divisions within the sheriff's office that operate within the whole of the county, and they can also take calls and be available in those circumstances. Now, from the patrol front in and of itself specifically, some of the changes that we've done in the last year probably is the shift levels talking to one another and seeing what call volumes and things that may be coming up as far as transports, whether they're mental health transports, whether they're to the state penitentiary, juvenile transports. If the transport division is overwhelmed, we're plugging those people back in, and we are kind of power shifting each shift amongst the sergeant levels so that they can help decide what are the needs for that shift for that day and what can we add for additional resources to handle those allocated things that we have to absolutely take care of, and then also those unallocated pieces so we can be out into the rural communities and be more visible to the people in those locations.
Thank you very much. All right, now switching to everybody's favorite topic, funding. This is for our county candidates. The oil and gas production tax is an important funding mechanism for local entities. In the past, there have been concerns raised that local political subdivisions, especially out here in the West, are not getting back a fair amount. So what is your understanding of this funding mechanism, and do you believe that the current formula provides a fair and equitable amount for us out West? And we'll start with Mr. Anderson.
Well, just like most of us up here, I think we would always take more. I think to the common taxpayer, it might be astonishing for them to realize that the majority of our budget is offset by gross production tax. So maintaining that level, if not in growing that in the future, is going to be extremely important. And I've been a firm believer that the money is made here, it should stay here. And I understand that we are a state, dollars go to Bismarck, but making sure that our legislators know, and I think they know, I mean, they're listening on the radio, they're here in the room, that we support and will continue to support making sure that that funding comes back here. Because it is frustrating sitting behind a desk at budget time trying to figure out how to fund a lot of these projects or increase services or help different entities that are trying to build hospitals and build all this stuff. I mean, we're inundated with requests for money all the time. But the reality is I mean, we're not a bank. We're not an entity that, gives out tremendous amounts of cash unless we see a tremendous need. So making sure that those dollars come back here to support our infrastructure, to support our people is paramount. And we need to continue to fight to get those dollars back here. And to the taxpayers of Williams County, I mean, making sure that your state legislators know how important that is. And I understand that property taxes are a huge issue and we don't want them to go up. But if we lose GPT dollars and it goes down, it's going to be a struggle from county commission standpoint to figure out how to maintain services and keep things operating on even keel without those dollars.
Thank you.
Well, I couldn't agree more with Bo that, yeah, we'd like to see more of it come back. We're going to, this year, from the looks of where everything's coming in, we're going to be in that $35 million that we're going to get back in GPT funding that we put in, and we use it in the budget, so it's a direct form of property tax relief, and we probably aren't good enough about telling people that, but we use it in the budget for covering those shortfalls, whether it's paving a road, graveling roads, different things like that, the maintenance of the graders, replacement, things like that, we definitely use GPT. If you talk to our legislators from District 1 anyway, they've all heard from me about GPT. Now the concern is down in Bismarck is if you change the funding formula, there's a whole bunch of people out east that think that they deserve more of that money. And once you open the funding formula, it can become a real problem. So there has to be, you know, it's got to be a little bit careful if they're going to find a way to get more out west. And I think that the most important part of it is, at the end of the day, you know, Williston gets some, Tioga gets some, Williams County, you go down to Watford gets some, McKenzie. At the end of the day, we want to make sure we're getting at least what we're getting now. But obviously, it would be nice to get a little bit more. But, you know, as the legislators were talking about their budget, there's a certain amount of things that are going to be mandated. And, you know, it looks like they're going to have to find a way to pay for several other things that are going to be in the Constitution, so they have to use some of the money to do that, too. So it's a real tough one. I'd love to see more coming to the big five oil producing, because the folks sitting here in this room, we're the ones that deal with it. And when you're out on the roads and the county roads being, the gravel's all in the ditch because there's so many trucks, it does make a huge difference. So I guess that's a short answer.
And I'd have to say I agree with both Corey and Bo, except for one thing on Bo, when he said we don't give away free money. I've watched the county commissioners over the last few years, and they actually do. They have grants that they put out for certain things that anybody within Williams County, not in the city of Williston, that can apply for it. And it's not a hard process that the county does donate, grant this money to help businesses, farmers, daycare workers, tourism, you know, anything that someone can think up that's going to draw people, more people to our county. I do think the Williams County Commissioners have done an excellent job on providing that funding and helping more people be able to do stuff. So yeah, again, with this, the gross production tax, I think we are always left behind over here. Even before we were booming, Williston always seems to be left behind. Everything that I can remember my whole life always goes to the east side of the state. And we need to get together, whether we're District 1, 2, or 23, we need to come together as one and be in Bismarck and show them we are one community and we are fighting for every single member in Williams County. That the funding needs to come here, that comes out of here needs to come back here, needs to stay here. You want to cut budgets elsewhere, but you've cut Williston over and over again over the last even 20 years. So we need to bring more back in here.
Well, excuse me. I would agree with everything that's been stated so far. I mean, we would take a lot more if we could. We have, at one time, I believe there was 200 miles of pavement, but we've added more to that. So there, I'd say that we probably got a little over 300 miles of pavement and 725-ish miles of gravel. The townships have over 2,000 miles of gravel roads in the county. It's phenomenal how much money it takes just to put gravel on it, plow the snow. As far as the production the tax, I'm pretty sure I'm right, but it was started in lieu of property tax to offset oil impact. It's not a very popular opinion, but I believe that we should keep all of it until there is no more oil impact, and then we'll share. But I don't really see where there's a lot of oil impact in Foster County or Cass County, or, I mean, that's my opinion anyway.
Thank you very much. All right. sheriff candidates. Now, between managing personnel, equipment, and the correctional center, and training requirements, budgeting for the sheriff's department can be complex. How do you apply your experience to the process while also meeting any budget expectations set by the county commission? And we'll start with Sheriff Quandy.
Yeah, the budget is obviously fairly substantial for the sheriff's office, the amount of personnel that we have, and yes, it is very complex as far as having the whole of the patrol division investigations, the weight enforcement, all these different things, and also the correction center. So when you're looking at budgets, usually around 80 to 85% of your budget is going to be personnel and people. So, and about another 5 or 10% is going to be somewhere in operational supplies, and everything there else is going to be your training and equipment pieces. So if for example, the commission wanted us to cut substantially, those are going to be people, unfortunately. That's just the reality if you have to cut budgets. We've been fortunate. I think financially, the commission is conservative in how they approach things. I think I have the same mindset. We try to make sure that we're doing the most that we can with the manpower that we have. When we saw, the anti-police or the defund the police movement come in, what I foresaw coming was the higher training requirements of individuals to be able to meet that demand, because getting rid of police obviously is not the answer. So we did increase our training budgets in that regard. We've really bolstered our training environment, a lot of force-on-force things, scenario-based training, a lot more firearms training. So it is a fine line trying to balance that with what are the needs of the organization to ensure that staff has what they need to safely be out there and help the public. I mean, the safer that we are and how we do things and the better trained we are, the better we can react to the circumstances that we're going to face out in the field. And that just means greater public safety overall.
Thank you.
Budget is obviously a very important thing for any organization and every government, including the sheriff's office. My focus on this is going to would mostly be on the people. I think that people are what makes law enforcement. And the last thing I would like to see cuts on would be the people. Equipment can go, supplies can go, but it's actually on the end of the day the people that do the work, the people that come in and they show up every day, that keep our community safe. So in the case of the cuts, that would be my last. Everything else can go first. As far as the dealing with the budget that we have right now, well, Williams County Sheriff's Office actually has two budgets. One is for the patrol side or for the sheriff's side. The other one is actually for the jail. And both of them have similar things in them. Obviously personnel, equipment, training, except on the jail side, you're going to have housing and some other things that have to be there for the inmates. I would work with our current commission, and I would implore them over the next couple of years to actually give us a little bit more so we can have more people on the roads, so we can keep this county safer, and so we can provide more to the residents.
Thank you very much. As energy and technology industries continue to expand and diversify, and a large area of Williams County continues to be looked at for development, commission candidates, how will you balance decision-making with the board while still effectively representing and advocating for your constituents? And we will start here with Mr. Anderson.
Well, I mean, decision-making in my mind, it comes down to hearing input. I mean, I obviously am not an expert in every single area, but the constituents and the folks that live out in my district, they are directly being impacted by any of these industries. I mean, specifically the last one was the wind tower project. And there's two sides to every story. There's folks that own property out there but live in Williston. There's folks that own property out there and live out there. And there's folks that own property out there and live Arizona, California, everywhere. So it's a delicate balance of listening to everybody and listening to all those concerns and and then listening to staff and going through planning and zoning process to get all those, put all that information together. But the good news is all of these projects have to go through the process, and the process starts with townships. and then it goes from township recommendation to planning and zoning. And planning and zoning spends a few hours going through those things, and they give their recommendation to the commission. And, you know, one thing that I was big on is making sure that, you know, I respect all of their recommendations. At the end of the day, you know, my decisions are based on what I think and know to be right, and I take pride in being open, honest, and transparent. And one good thing for county residents is all of these meetings that we have are televised online through our website, and you can watch them anytime, any day, and bring them up later on to review. So thank you for that.
I guess I would agree with a lot of what Bo had said. One of the things that I would say, though, is I look at it and expand it further. I am elected for District 3, but that doesn't mean if you live in District 5, you can't call me. I talk to many of the same people that Barry talked to and that Bo talked to, and I'm very open to that. My farm is actually in Barry's district, so there are times when that phone call comes, I kind of wish they'd have called Barry, but I take it. But no, you know, I think being willing to answer the phone, and that's the big thing. We all have cell phones. We all carry them with us. You know, don't be afraid to call and give your opinion. I mean, that's how we learn also, as to what everybody in that area is feeling. And a lot of these decisions aren't easy because, like Bo said, you have folks that live there that want it, that live there that don't want it, that don't live there. I mean, it just goes on, and it's a real hard one. The last tough one we had, probably the toughest one that we've had in a long time, it almost felt like being at a wedding, because we had the groom's side over here and the bride's side over here, and they didn't like each other. But at the end of the day, everybody walked out and shook hands. And now what we do is we go back to planning and zoning, because we can change the zoning regulations, because at the end of the day, that's what we're following. And it's real hard for us to make a decision and say, no, you can't do that. And then the attorney looks at you and says, well, which zoning ordinance did they not follow? And you say, well, they followed them all, but I didn't like it. That's a real tough one to stand on. So we try to make sure we do that. And like I say, now we're reviewing the wind tower zoning ordinances right now. So that may change for the next group.
So for me, the decision-making, I feel, is not me. It is what the people in District 5 want. I want their opinions. I want to be their voice. Even if I disagree with them, I will still go to the board meeting, argue with these guys, and say, this is what my district is saying. You know, if you have something better, tell me so I can go back to them and explain it in a different way there, where maybe we can all come to an understanding and an agreement where we can make all sides happy and we don't have a bride and a groom on opposite sides. Right now, it's really tough. Our community is very divided. And we need to try to, as a county commissioner, to pull that back together, whether it's working with our community, our city commissioners, our mayor, our state representatives. We need to come together as one, and as one, there's pretty much nothing we can't do. We can fight and beat a lot of these things that are against us in our community if we stay together and quit with the arguing and fighting.
Well, I would agree with all three of the candidates up here. It gets to be a long, drawn-out process at times, especially if it's like that last wind farm one, where some people want it, some people don't. But you got to still remember there's such a thing as personal property rights, and that is very, very important. If you lose your property rights, you don't got nothing. That's just, whether you like the looks of a windmill or solar panels, or it's the guy that owns the land on the other side of the fence, that's his land. He gets to decide, or he gets to allow them to pursue a project. I mean, I tell everybody I've talked to, I said, I am not a fan club member of the windmills, but just because I don't think much of them doesn't mean that I can just automatically go, well, no, I don't want you to be able to do this, because if they've broken no laws, they've broken no ordinances, how do you tell somebody that you can't make, you can't make revenue off of your property? It'd be no different than if you owned the surface and someone else owned the minerals and you went, no, you can't get to that. I don't want to look at the tank battery. That's, you can't, you absolutely cannot do that. And I consider this stuff the same as mineral rights. It gets right back to property rights. And I do have a leg up over the other commissioners because I am on planning and zoning, so I get to listen through planning and zoning and then the county commission meetings, so it gets pretty drawn out sometimes.
Thank you very much. All right, our final question is for all of our candidates. So now forum questions can focus on what a candidate thinks needs to be fixed or changed. So describe a current initiative or function that the county has in place that, if elected, you look forward to continuing or supporting. And we will start here with our sheriff candidates with Mr. Babick.
The big one for me is working with child advocacy centers. I know the county has already established a very good relationship with them, and I would most definitely look to expand that as much as possible and give them any support that we have. Same thing would go for the organizations that are dealing with domestic violence and other heinous crimes, to include women's shelters and places like that. I think we need to strengthen those relationships. I think we need to work with them even more. And that is definitely something that I would stay on top of throughout the whole process.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the current initiatives is going to be the behavioral health dollars that are coming in from the public safety tax. Now, some of that likely is going to go through that MDT multidisciplinary team piece through the CAC, which we've been a part of, and it's a great organization, it's a great partnership, and we gladly want to continue that, as well as the programming that we have within the correctional facility as well. Lacey does a great job with what she brings for programming for inmates within the facility, and with these dollars and/or with budgeting in partnership with the county commission, we certainly want to continue those programs, especially for mental health services within the community. 3C in Minot, I believe, is closed down. Mental health is such a big challenge for everything we see that I think those behavioral health dollars are going to be a major thing for our county moving forward. That's not something that's going to, I think, retract. We're going to continue to see more of that nexus with incarcerated individuals and mental health needs. We're seeing that. We have 2 nurses on staff. One of them is almost entirely dedicated to that already. So that's the stuff I want to see to continue within our organization.
Thank you. All right, we'll jump over here to the county side. I'll start with Mr. Anderson.
This last round of public safety tax, when it went up for a vote, we put it out to the folks to vote on it, and quality of life was a big portion of that. And I would say that probably one of the most important parts for me about being on the commission is making sure that quality of life in Williams County is here to stay and improves. One thing that being on the Williams County Park Board we've done is we've committed $35 million to going through every single one of Williams County parks, renovating, updating, and making them better. Because I truly believe that the mental health part or quality of life part of being a resident of Williams County is taking advantage of the sunshine and the outdoors and the weather, the short term that we have it. And we understand that nice weather in western North Dakota maybe only comes around 3 months a year. But when we get done with the 6th winter, I think spring will finally be here. So one thing that I want to see through is making sure that the parks are finished, which they are ahead of schedule, and they will be under budget. So we're looking forward to making sure that that quality of life aspect for all of Williams County residents is there, it's affordable, and ready for folks to use. But to the mental health aspect, I mean, that public safety tax includes dollars for mental health. And since we've contributed dollars to that over the years, we have tripled mental health services, but we still understand it's not enough. We need to do more. We need to do as much as we can. But the dollars some of them will be there. It's not going to be 100% what everybody needs, but we're going to do what we can to increase services and increase quality of life.
Not to point out anything obvious, but I think Bo cheated off my worksheet here because, to be honest with you, that is one of the things that I'm most proud of when we got the community got behind us and said, let's extend this 1 cent and let's do some other things in Williams County to improve, and it does come down to quality of life. Right now, the new Energy Center, which is going to have three sheets of hockey. There's going to be a turf room in the old airplane hangar. Williams County's committed $12 million out of that 1 cent to that already. Working collaboratively with Williston Parks and Recreation. We also have money committed to anything outside of the city of Williston. We're still working on those projects to see what they're going to be. But the quality of life is just, it's monumental right now because we have just incredible parks. If you get a chance this summer, drive up to Blacktail and see what, as Bo said, the park board did up there. Jeremy and the crew just did a phenomenal job. I drove through there this afternoon. Again, I've been up there a couple times already. The grass isn't growing, but if you look at it, it's just, it's stunning. And we've done Coda Ray. There's just tons of stuff going on there. Along with the behavioral health, Bo alluded to that, $3 million plus in the last 4 or 5 years that Williams County has committed to that to try to help solve some of the issues that go on that, maybe that makes it so the sheriff's job isn't quite as hard and we don't have to have so many people in the jail if we can help them with some behavioral health things. So that's kind of the ones that I want to keep moving forward, and obviously there's a whole bunch more, so I'll stop there.
I would say the one thing from Williams County that's probably most near and dear to my heart is the mental health. Most know my niece went missing 4 years ago. We found her deceased. After her funeral, and that entire nightmare of a month was over, and I was home alone thinking, and that's when more stuff started coming to me. And I was thinking, my county commissioners, why did they not reach out to me? Why did city commissioners, why did nobody within our community that were higher ups reached out to our family and said, hey, what can we do to help? So I would really like to see more funding for the mental health part. We need it. I needed it back then, but it wasn't available. And I didn't know who to talk to, really. I believe I did talk to Corey once. I will admit that. I think we spent a good time on the phone after it had happened. But it was a difficult time. So bringing that funding in, we need a facility. Williams County in 2023 gave $200,000. To me, that's like unreal amount of money to CHI for the mental health unit and substance abuse unit that was supposed to be completed in 2024. We're sitting in 2026. Where is it? Where's the money? Has anybody bothered to find it, ask about it? Is it, or is it just now since it's been 4 years history? I think things like that we need to look into and we need to stay on top of. I'm sure, I know about that amount because, like I said, mental health is very important to me. there could be other things that we're not aware of that we should be keeping track of with our lives so busy.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with everything that's been said. I believe the mental health is very important. Our Parks Department, I think that's gonna hopefully, everybody get a little time out, fresh air, maybe it will help out. As far as the money we gave to CHI, I believe it's there. It's under construction. But I mean, but we can offer them the money. We don't lay the bricks, right? So, and as far as the other stuff, I'd like to continue. I think we have a township grant for big projects that the townships can't afford. We have $1 million. They can apply for up to $500,000 for each project. As far as continuing our long-term plan for our roads for the future. Oh man, you guys kind of stole everything ahead of me first, so that's really about the size of it, I guess.
Thank you. All right, once again, I want to thank all of our candidates for being here tonight. Now I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to give your closing statements. So you'll each have 1 minute to just, once again, summarize what you would bring as a county official. And once again, we'll start over here with the sheriffs, and we'll start with Sheriff Kwandi.
Okay, thank everybody for coming out tonight. Again, everybody that was a part of putting this on. It's a lot of work. I appreciate that. I also want to thank my family that's here tonight to support me, as well as so many members of the Sheriff's Office that have continued to support me through this entire time frame. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you. It's about the best analogy that I can come up with is the voter is essentially the hiring committee for this role. And every 4 years it's available for someone to run. I've been fortunate to be elected as your sheriff, and I would like to continue that work. Now, you as the voter, i.e. the hiring committee, you get to be the ones to choose that. And when that responsibility is yours, you certainly want to find the most qualified, most experienced person for that job. Public safety isn't a place where you just kind of make it up as you go. It's much too important for the overall well-being of the community and the members. We have to rely on clearly established law and making sure that we have someone there that knows how it operates so that public safety is upheld. And I think I bring all of those experiences with me. I bring the training. I think by every objective metric, I am the most qualified candidate for this position, and I certainly hope you would support me and re-elect me. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, thank you all for coming. Thank you for putting this together. It's an important part of this democratic process, as I said to begin with. I started this campaign with simple saying based on the Proverbs 21:3, and it says, to do what is right and just is most pleasing to the Lord and any sacrifice. And my campaign and my view for the future is based exactly on that. Doing what is right and just for the people of this county, for you, the voters, for the deputies that work inside of a Williams County Sheriff's Office, and for our community as a whole. When it comes to law enforcement, it is important to follow rules and regulations. It is important to be there and be a part of your community, because if you're not part of your community, you don't know what they need. You don't know what enforcements are needed the most. And the only way you can achieve that is by shaking hands and going to the places where people are and meeting with them. My campaign is based on visibility, it's based on transparency, and it's based on accountability. And I hope that on June 9th and on November 3rd, I gain your confidence and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Big thank you for the Chamber for the invitation to come here tonight. And probably the biggest thanks goes to my wife and my family for all the support for the last 7.5 years. But to the folks in my district, you know, I take great pride into taking emails and your calls. And I know my family can attest that very rarely do I get a phone call that it doesn't drive me nuts if it's Friday night or Saturday or sometime that it's like I really, really want to just call them back and hear that and either get them an answer immediately, but I know I should wait at least until Monday for business hours. But I truly enjoy working for the public and want the folks to know that I feel strongly about every dollar that comes through and across our desk is property of the taxpayer. And I feel like we do a great job watching over those dollars and making sure we put them to work for you as residents of Williams County.
First of all, thanks to the Chamber for putting this on. Thank you guys for coming. And anybody listening on the radio and online, thank you for taking the time. My name's Corey Hansen. I'm going to run for re-election in District 3. I've enjoyed every minute of the last 8 years, even the not-so-fun minutes, because you learn. And as you learn, you get better at what you do. So I feel the experience I'm bringing back from the last 8 years it can only make our commission better and myself better. So I've really enjoyed it. If you ever need me, I always return phone calls. Please feel free. My number's on the county website. I also will give out my personal cell phone if anybody wants it. So thank you.
And I'm Carla Kuchar, and I'm running for County Commissioner for District 5. When my family and I decided that I was going to do this, I jumped in with both feet, not knowing what to expect or how the process goes. And my goal was trying to bring our community together as one. I have emailed, texted, everybody that I can think of when I'm going through if I know an event is coming up. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, or nonpartisan. You are our district, you are our community, regardless of what's behind your name. I send you messages. Hey, I've got a vendor show on this day. I'll give you a free booth. Come and talk to the community. I'm not doing it just in my district. I'm doing it in all of Williams County. I'm talking to everyone. But I will be the voice for District 5, as I am also trying to show Williams County that if we work together as one, we are way better. And I want the infighting and the arguing and the smearing to stop and have a really good debate campaign. And I would want to say, I'm over my time, but Barry has been a very good opponent with me. We talk. He's been nothing but respectful with this run, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, again, my name is Barry Ramberg. I'm running for re-election for District 5. I would also agree. I believe we've been very responsible with the fundings that we have. It's sometimes it gets, the budget meeting, sometimes you can get pretty sticky sometimes, people want this or that, and you gotta prioritize. So there's some projects that are going to be coming that some probably believe they should have been farther up the list, but yeah, that's kind of how that works. So I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that wraps up all of our questions. Once again, thank you to all of our county candidates. Can we get a big round of applause for them for coming out tonight? And once again, I want to thank all of you for coming out. I want to thank all of our sponsors, Western Regional Economic Development, Montreal Williams Electric Cooperative, Key 660, Town Square Media, and Williston State College. Make sure you come out tomorrow night. We're going to be doing this again for our city races, our candidate forums there. And before you leave tonight, don't forget, we do have some primary information in the back. Election night is Tuesday, June 9th. Polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and absentee ballots are available now. So make sure you pick up some flyers. Make sure if you have any other questions for these candidates, you grab them, get their information. Otherwise, thank you all for coming out. Have yourselves a wonderful night. My name is Mitch Milberg. I'm the president of the Williston Area Chamber of Commerce, and we appreciate you taking part in tonight's forums.